Well, let's bring in Billy Boozer, former Chief Product Officer of Trump's Truth social platform. What do you make of Elon Musk's departure, Billy? Because he said he'd give it 6 months. Not quite 6 months yet, is it?
No, I mean, I think what he's seeing is that the business practices and the operational practices that he experiences as an entrepreneur don't apply to government consensus decision making, right? And those things can be extremely frustrating when you're someone that wants to move fast and break things. And I think it's something that I hope that we as an American society appreciate, that there's a massive difference and chasm between, everyday business operations and the way governments are, implement policy and execute on the kind of risk averse mechanisms that keep a government kind of the same every single day. And I think that's probably something that he battled with in this administration, just having to deal with Congress not codifying, the different regulatory and policy changes that I think he would like to see in cost-cutting measures for, a government that is running a massive deficit right now.
So what did he really achieve then, do you think?
I think he shined a light on some parts of the government that the American people weren't aware of. I think we saw a slush fund in USAID that no one understood, that it was really just being used as a tool to distribute funds to any NGO or any other non-governmental organization that they wanted to push money to. And I think that was a really positive thing. I don't think the vast majority of Americans knew what USAID was prior to this administration and prior to DOGE engaging with it. I also think it shined a light on how slow government can be and how inefficient the patterns of consensus decision-making can be at times. And those inefficient patterns not existing in the entrepreneurial environment and existing in the government environment can express why we move so slow at times in addressing our needs of the population.
Seems you might be understanding that better than Elon Musk, Billy. What about their relationship, President Trump and Elon Musk's relationship?
I saw a couple of clips from an interview that's supposed to come out, I think, on Sunday. And it talks specifically about, and it's kind of going around on Twitter right now, where it talks about how he didn't agree with everything that was going on within this administration, but it's difficult to express that to the media, because then what ends up happening is division begins to be sown in that relationship. And I think he understands the politics of those things, but I think it's likely that those politics are the most frustrating part for someone that's a doer like he is, someone that's actually out there executing on, first principles methodologies and iterative processes that help lead to, the evolution of rockets and the evolution of our space and satellite
politics
structure.
And the political system versus, a corporate system that Elon Musk's been used to date. But what about the men, the two men? What insight do you have into how they might have interacted or might not have worked for them?
Well, I can tell you, being a technologist in an organization, in a Trump-level organization, at times can be frustrating because there's a bit of a void of understanding of the underlying principles of technology. And so when Elon walks in with 3 or 4 engineers and says, I can revamp the way our payment systems work in, let's say, Social Security Administration or something like that, it's kind of hard for people to understand how quickly those things can move when you have the technical understanding to do basically anything, and the resources for that matter. And so I think I can see where there could be frustration there, but I think the overarching thing that I gleaned out of their relationship was, even in disagreement, there was a goal, which was to move America forward into a better place, not only economically but technologically into the future.
And how do you think President Trump will do without him?
I don't think he'll be without him. J.D. Vance said in a recent interview that this isn't the end of Elon engaging with this administration. He'll continue to be an advisor. He'll continue to be somebody that helps the president with any of the technological things that are difficult for members of Congress and members of the government to understand without someone that can help them lead those things. And so I think that, alongside of some of the policy changes in his one big beautiful bill, are going to require engagement from the business community, and Elon will be one of the first people that he has conversations with.
And what do you make of this as a US citizen and a former Truth Social employee? What do you make of the one big beautiful bill?
I think that there are some concerning elements that don't address the overall deficit in our country, and it's one of the big reasons why everyone or President Trump got so much support. Was we saw an impending doom in the future, and that impending doom was a massive deficit and a massive amount of debt in our country. And I think that that may also be one of the contributing factors of Elon leaving, is that he didn't see that Congress and our government was willing to do the tasks needed to cut that deficit to the point in which we began to make way on that debt. I do think there are some really good elements to it. There are some depreciation elements for businesses, cutting corporate tax rates, which will help continue to drive more businesses back in the United States or business creation. We've seen a significant decrease in venture capital investing in the United States. So.
I'm sorry, Billy, I was just checking my timings and how long I had with you, but I think we're going to have to go now. Billy Boozer, former Chief Product Officer of Truth Social. Really good to have your insight. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.